Hello everyone. Welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. My name is Strifium, back on the broadcast today. Hopefully no issues with that. We are here for Singapore. It's round 6 for the Oceanic Division, and joining me as always for the action, Seb. How are you doing this evening over in Australia?
I'm good, thanks. Good morning, Strifium. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in.
Going to be a very exciting 31 laps of racing here around, well, what I think is quite a fun circuit to race in all reality. I actually quite enjoy the circuit, the Singapore circuit, Marina Bay circuit here. And it's 23 turns. It's a 23 turn jungle, this circuit. You have so
Concrete
much.
jungle.
Yeah, it's so much. You have, it's Baku essentially. Well, I don't know. I mean, how would you explain the circuit
This
then?
is a difficult track, but when you nail it, it is one of the most fun on the calendar. Like I said, or like you said, it's a jungle. It's a concrete jungle. Those walls will loom on you, and they will come at you fast if you're not prepared. Hot spots of turn 7 and turn 1 for overtaking. You could also see a potential overtaking into turn 14. But yeah, this is just a fun track when you nail it, man. I love this track when I drive it.
Yeah,
That last sector, turns 10s to 12, 7 to 9. It's really fun.
yeah, it's definitely a heck of a time getting around here, considering the fact that these drivers, not only are they worried about the drivers they're racing with, but they got to keep it out of the wall here. It's much like, any street circuit. It's extremely tight, so they have to maneuver not only the other drivers, but they've got to maneuver, the walls themselves, the circuit themselves. Well, itself, I should say. But we are here in Singapore. It's round, it's round 16 for the Tier 2 and Tier 1 racers. It says round 16 on your screen. It's round 6 for the Oceanic Grid. We're here for Singapore. And we have, of course, 2 races happening later, Tier 2 and Tier 1. But we have the Russian GP next week. Following that, we have Japan. We have the US as well on the calendar still. Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. Take a look at who is on the grid, basically team-wise here. We have Apollo Pepsi and Impulse over at Mercedes. Stars Trin over at Ferrari. Mikau and Panda at Red Bull. Rez and Yukio for McLaren combined, and Ruben for Renault. Wengod and Psycho at AlphaTauri with Zaino and maybe Ben the Bear. He's having some internet issues, so he might not, well, not internet, but power issues, so he may not be able to get on for the race, which would be very unfortunate because it is Singapore and I know he loves this place. Revo, Maz for Alfa Romeo, Big Al and Ghazi for Haas, and that's Simdaga and T-Mac for Williams. And standings are doing quite well here so far. They're coming along nicely now after 5 rounds. According to Freeware in the chat, Ben has made it, which is huge news because he loves this track. Like I said, Alfa Romeo is leading the Constructors' Championship. You have, I believe that is that Racing Point right behind? Yes, Racing Point there in second position with Red Bull in third. We have Revo, Ben the Bear, and Mikau, your top 3, of course. Revo leading the championship, 117 points. Few position changes last week from the stewards after post-race penalties and changes, so not too much, but of course keep it as clean as possible here, and we are going to jump straight in on the racing action. So very, very excited for all of this coming up.
Just a note on the Drivers' Championship, Ben the Bear took about 10 points out of Revo last round after Revo's spin under the safety car at the start of the race.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this race pans out here. We have, of course, your typical 18-minute short qualifying session leading into a 50% distance race, and 31 laps is the 50% distance around Singapore. And Singapore is a circuit that can really throw anything at you, from rain conditions to good dry conditions, to just a very dynamic race. Saw the European division, the first of 5 races around here on Tuesday. 20 drivers took to that racing grid, and not one of them caused a safety car. There was no safety car, and this is something we saw similar this week in some racing, is this wet qualifying. We have wet qualifying here, intermediate compound tires, in view. So things are going to get tricky. We've got 17 drivers on the grid. Gazieg, Yukio, Apollo. We have combined YouTuber, excuse me, Panda, Ben, Ruben, Domi, Revo, Freeware Maz, Wangod, Maz over at Alfa Romeo. He's the newest full-time driver there, replacing Shrimp. Wangod there, Mikal, T-Mac, Trin, Simdaga, and Big Al.
Big news, into conditions for quali, and then the race is going to be dry to into the dry.
Ooh.
What would normally be a, if you qualify in the top 10, most likely a soft to hard race, or if you can, medium to hard race. This is going to be interesting. I'm getting excited right now just looking at that, or just reading what I've been sent.
Yeah, that's going to be massive. So we've got intermediate conditions here in quali, following by changeable conditions in the race, and this is setting itself up already to be a cracker. You can see Apollo just coming out of turn 2. No, that's turn 3. Where's that 4 now? Man, there's so many turns that come up on you in Singapore. I feel as though I can lose myself quite quickly. Now, the thing with Apollo is he had a big slide in that Mercedes. He's the first driver out, so he's going to be the first real taste of these conditions for us here in the commentary booth. He's in that Mercedes. And Singapore can be so unforgiving in these wet conditions. There's no runoff at all in most of these turns.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope we didn't have like a full wet race, because then we would see absolutely no wheel-to-wheel racing and more just crashes instead. But we have a mixture of both a dry and wet race, so this is buckle in. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, this is gonna be really spicy for sure. And with 17 drivers, that wet quali, wet dynamic, being told that it's going to come in the race. Wow. I'm excited. As it's 31 laps around here, as we've said, and that rain, I mean, we'll have to see how long it lasts, how much of a dynamic it can play. When you have that middle of the race rain dynamic, I'm sure you can agree with this, Seb, it really throws a monkey wrench in strategy for tires, because it's a big judgment on, well, when is it wet enough, when is it dry enough.
It also is a rhythm killer. It really is a rhythm killer. Having a weather change in the middle of a race, or two of them especially.
Two of them,
if you get
yeah.
that, you just, yeah. As Pepsi starts his lap, he's almost already lost it.
He's trying to start his lap.
He's trying to start his lap. Stand at turn 1, just have a wide entry into it, take a lot of that curb inside and out for turn 1 and 2. Into turn 3, just hug that inside, avoid touching it, because you want to get on that throttle a little bit, avoid the outside, but you can use it and get away with it, but not so much in the wet. Use all the track, bit of curb, wash this out to the wall. He's being very cautious, Pepsi, just testing the waters. Can't blame him, it's probably his first go in the wet, or in the inters so far. Braking, just get that car in, let it rotate, easy on the throttle, and now you've got a second gear corner right hand. This is where Grosjean and Russell had that coming together back in 2019 last year. Slowly on that throttle, play with it, out of turn 8 and through turn 9. Gone a bit too wide out of turn 9, but that should be fine. You can gain plenty of time throughout this track, a lot of corners, nice, cuts it just enough, avoids that inside wall. Over this one, easy to like. Avoid that inside curb on the wet, you'd think, but you can sometimes get away with it if you keep that wheel straight. Unwind the car out of turn 13 on the run to turn 14. No DRS because it is wet conditions, obviously. Brake around 100-meter board, get it to third gear. He's gone down to second. Be wide, but just don't go over this white line. You can do that in real life, but not in the game. That will penalize you. Brake about 80 meters. Just be very careful here.
Oh,
and he's just unvalidated.
Yeah,
Revo
Revo is coming behind him. Well, actually ahead of him now that I think about it. Did Revo beat him out?
No, Pepsi let him through as well as Ben the Bear. Yeah, I was just about to say as he cut, just be careful not to cut. You're supposed to cut, that was turn 17 a lot, but you just supposed to be careful. He's just sent it into the wall. Jeez. Not having fun in the final two corners of 22 and 23, is he, Pepsi?
Well, Ben the Bear, sorry, Revo crossed first quickest. It was a 151.3 out of him. Ben the Bear very, very quickly afterwards crossed with a 150.9 to set himself into provisional pole. Reware right now is half a tenth behind Revo. Wangod, he's a few tenths off. He's in 4th position. Simdog 154.7 for his first run here now. Something that Alex Bido came across in the chat to say was that the drivers have some very, very hot tires in this situation, and that it is going to potentially dry up here in the quali, which I think a good portion of these drivers are going to be absolutely thrilled with, to get those proper times in based on the practice that they've been, I imagine, putting in here around Singapore. And is on a flyer right now ahead of Mikau in the Red Bull.
Yeah, just a note on Revo, apparently he's had an eye infection in one eye, so that may hamper him a little as well.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for him, so I hope he's feeling alright with the eye then, and well, that's...
But this is a major test, sorry to cut you off, but this is a major test for Ben the Bear. This will show if he can deliver. Trying to ask too much of the car there, just seeking too much mechanical grip out of the tires is just, you know, that can happen sometimes as you try to seek extra time. Is that Pepsi offered?
Yeah, he's had an issue.
Yeah.
See on the map there.
If I can get a better view of this, right. I just wonder if he's hit that inside wall and just sent it into the barrier, because it's the only thing I can think of.
Yukio on a flyer in the McLaren right now. Driver is able to put a cross coming down through 22 and 23 here. T-Max taking a 5-place grid penalty. Oh my dear, what has happened on the cross to start your... What on earth has just happened?
Thank God, Simdogger and T-Mac, I believe.
Well, apparently Wangod collected Simdogger coming out of the pit lane. That's what Alex Bido has come across to tell us. But that's very unfortunate. So Wangod and Simdogger are both out of this qualifying session with 10 minutes remaining here. They've only gotten 1 lap in each. Sim isn't going to be too thrilled with his, compared to where Yukio currently stands in that McLaren.
T-Mac involved that well as 5 grid place penalty pops up for him. That's very interesting.
Ruben, a driver who has had a lot of time around Singapore this week. He's been trying various setups. I know, just like me, he is dreading the rain in this circuit. We drove it 2 nights ago, him and I, and well, it was fun to say the least. So in the Renault, he crosses 9th quickest, a 154.2. Revo says, hello, I am back, and I have now acquired pole position. So that Alfa Romeo, a 150.7, 2 tenths up on Ben. Ben's on an outlap, looking to improve as well. Now, although we are halfway through the qualifying session here, it is quite difficult to get many laps around in Singapore. It's a long outlap. It's just a long lap period. You know, you have that outlap, you go, you set your flyer, and you have your in lap. That's a lot of time it takes to really get in a proper clean lap. And the thing about laps in Singapore is the tire degradation here is an absolute killer. So to go in multiple laps is very, very difficult to pull off successfully, in my opinion here.
Yeah, that's very true. You expect if you want to do a multiple lap qualifying stint, you'd have to toss in a couple of just cool down laps or preparation laps just to allow those tires to cool down. I think it was Bido who mentioned that. I think that's what you said before, is that correct? About the tire temps?
Well, Alex Bido, there was, well, so the thing with the tire temps here is I've seen these drivers, and I've had races, is it now? 3 Singapores so far this week that I've been through. Twice as a commentator, once as a racer. And one thing I can say about intermediate compound tires, if the setup's tuned for dry, those tires are toast. That's what I had to deal with the other night when I was racing. I had almost like a hybrid setup. You come through the tires, man. I think I was ready to do a 4-stop on intermediates because I was roasting them, absolutely roasting them. But the tire degradation here, softs are a rarity, so I think that we're gonna see a lot of people here on these inners. We actually have combined switching to the mediums, but a lot of these drivers could potentially have free tire choice, and we saw an entirety of free tire choice come through the other day, and it was only 3 drivers who actually opted on those softs, and it was major gambling for safety cars, and that race didn't even end up seeing a safety car. So based on that, I mean, the Oceanic racers, they have that replay, they have that data to go and look at, and they go, okay, this is how the circuit behaved with this grid. Where can I strategize? These are the incidents, this is what happened, here's the likeliness of a safety car. So they have the ability to go in and look and kind of get a feel for how another grid races this circuit with a couple of elements in that equation, because there were a couple of racers in that race who I think are here, Ruben being one of them. So it'll be an interesting dynamic. Ben the Bear is going to be looking to finish this flyer right now in the racing point.
Had a purple sector 2 as Revo's also going out of mediums. Serena's also stopped here. Just about stopped. Ben the Bear pushing the limits between 22 and 23. It goes fastest by a whole second.
Yeah, it's
nearly a whole second, sorry.
Definitely drying up here when you're pushing increases like that on your time. So he'll be coming in, I imagine, to try and get onto some dries to set a time here. 6 minutes remaining, long lap around, and you got to keep it clean as well on your run through. So that's always a big role.
He should be able to get back. I'm going to be very interested to see, as Revo put on the mediums before, whether if it does dry up enough, will people go onto softs or the mediums? Because the mediums are the ideal tire to be on. You don't want to be on the softs because they will get too much temperature very quickly in the race situation. So, especially given that we have rain mid-race, I wouldn't be surprised seeing people on the mediums. But
I think that the life on softs, I'm just on board with Panda right now. He's on an outlap. I don't know if anybody's actively flying. I think we're hearing this calm before the storm, but Panda's on an outlap. He's on these intermediate compound tires, and I think this may be the wrong call. I think he might actually come in at the end of this lap, and I'm really keen to see what he does here, because I don't think he's going to be able to improve massively. I mean, he has no lap set, so regardless, if he gets a clean lap in, it's going to be an improvement. But does he want to waste the time on these green rim tires? That is a big question. And one thing to talk about in reference to the softs from qualification here, if I'm not mistaken, last around 5 to 6 laps with decent pace, and then they kind of drop off a cliff here. You can get about 8 to 9 fresh on those softs, but the mediums and hards, they carry so much more long-term pace in this race. It's a 31 lap race. It's a one-stop optimal strategy on a dry race from that medium to hard or hard to medium, whichever way you choose to skin the cat. But I've seen it with these softs, they take that gamble, but because of these intermediate conditions in quali, you see drivers jumping on the mediums. Why are they jumping on the mediums? Because they have that weather forecast. These drivers are going to go on the mediums or the hards because they need to stretch a stint to get onto potentially, like we've been told, some wet compound tires in these intermediates, because we're expecting rain midway through the race.
Indeed. Everyone's switching to the mediums. You can see them all in the pits at the moment. That's Trin, Revo, Domi, Mikau, T-Mac. Combine's also on track. He was preparing for a medium run before, but decided better of it.
Yukio actively flying in the McLaren on the intermediate compound tire, and this circuit looks absolutely dry. There is very minimal spray coming off of those tires. So we'll have to see what the lap life will, well, the lap time will be. It's purple through through sector 1. Now making our way through sector 2. Too far ahead of ourselves here.
These guys might or should all just try and wait as long as possible before going out, which is I think what they're doing. I believe that's Revo going out first though, as he normally does. DRS is now available for Yukio, which means this is dry conditions.
Oh, for sure. As soon as you see that come up in any qualifying session, any session really, it's a very clear-cut indicator. I was actually speaking with Brownie the other day, and he was saying that he thinks there's a little bit more of a differential in the conditions when the DRS is enabled. He thinks that maybe it comes on a little bit earlier, a little bit later, and that it doesn't necessarily mean the conditions are set up for the dries or the wets in either case.
Yeah, sorry, Yukio's just watching him on board. It looks like those tires are completely shot. He's what was two purple first sector and purple second sector, end up making him in the final sector just behind by nearly 1/10 of a second on his best lap time.
Well, Ruben here, he's also on these intermediates. He's got that DRS rear wing. And let's take a look and see. He's got a big lockup. He's definitely struggling, and he's not going to be too thrilled about this. That is for sure.
Down 800.
Oh, look at that big run out wide there.
We just about have one shot qualifying with about 14 of our drivers, I believe. Yeah, something like that.
Well, look at the it really is congested on track now. The two Red Bulls are extremely tight in this equation. Mikau following along on the rear of Ruben, actually, and Panda is right there with him. Mikau currently third in this championship, looking to make it second perhaps. Right now, Revo leading quite a bit. Actually, is Mikau within striking distance of Ben the Bear? I reviewed the standings and now I can't remember for the life of me, but it is going to be a tight battle in these standings, I think, especially in the midfield.
I believe if he wins, he would be. He would have overtaken him in the championship, but I can't from memory.
Maz flying in the Alfa Romeo, I believe the first driver in that big train of cars to come out to get a flyer started, and there's a big issue for Maz. There goes the front left. Oh, and that is just very close. The terminal damage car coming through here. That is T-Mac.
That's going to ruin T-Mac's life, as Mick has invalidated already at turn 1. Just a note on that incident with, I've already forgotten already, sorry, Moz. Yeah, it's just turn 7 can be very deceiving. You think you can get the power down while you're on that curb, but you can't. You have to be very careful, especially in these conditions where it's just changing over to these medium tires. Tires might be a little bit cooler than they normally would be. That's just meant he just wasn't expecting to have that little grip and just dropped it on the exit.
Well, and that's exactly it. Is you're coming out of these wet conditions for your first run on the dries, and you're looking to set in the quickest possible time, and you don't have maybe the best feel for the conditions, or maybe there's a little bit of water. You know, it's a little damp on circuit. You have these different variables. And T-Mac right now, he's flying the first driver that's going to set a lap in this session on these dry tires.
Bear's retired. What's happened to him?
Well, Ben the Bear has had an issue in Sector 2, it would seem. Here comes T-Mac, P1, 142.223.
Time's going to start tumbling down. All Red Panda and T-Mac need to do is just get a time on the board so they can at least get some track position. Mikau might lose out to this, to his validation. Yet Domi goes 3 seconds faster than T-Mac.
He's absolutely blistering in that AlphaTauri at the moment. There goes Trin in the Ferrari P3, a 142.947. Revo is currently flying. There goes Panda, a 140 flat from the Red Bull. And Revo just says hello. 137.5 for pole position here out of the Alfa Romeo in Revo. Very, very fast time on the medium.
Ben the Bear's, well, again, I wouldn't say inability, but the fact that Ben the Bear didn't get to do that lap just meant he dropped from a potential second position to 7th on the starting grid. So This is really, really interesting. Same kind of goes with Mick out. But yeah, it's a good lap from combined. And it just shows if you can nail a lap and show some confidence in these interchangeable conditions as combined Domi and Guess Red Panda have done, then you can find some.
Only 6 racers
yourself in
setting
a good
times
position.
on dries here.
I believe we had about 11 of them go for a lap, so
Yeah, so that just really, really goes to show you how many drivers actually, I don't want to say this, but failed to get a lap in on the final run on those drives. But let's take a look. Revo on pole position with the mediums. It was a 137.5, the pole position here for the Oceanic Division. We have combined YouTuber on the front row, a 139.288 out of combined here. To lock it down on the front row, we have Domi in third, Panda in fourth. We have T-Mac rounding out the top 5 with Trin, the 6th driver in this one, to get a time through on the mediums, a 142.947 from him. Now, one thing here, T-Mac taking a 5-place grid penalty according to the timing tower.
That's from when Simdogger and Wayne God had that collision at the pit entry, or sorry, last corner I should say, and T-Mac got involved in that. That's really unfortunate. That's a good qualifying for him, and that's just kind of gone to waste now.
Just tuning in, my name is Strifium from, of course, the Great White North of Canada. Joining me, as always, for the Oceanic Division, it is Seb from the land down under, and we are here in, well, Singapore. And it's going to be quite the race. 31 laps. We have the weather forecast. It is going to be a dry, wet, dry campaign. Of course, share the stream. Get your friends in here for some cracking action. We've got Revo on pole position, the Alfa Romeo or Sauber Esports development driver, whichever you wish to go with. Of course, Jarno Otmir taking a win yesterday. I believe that's his 3rd win in the esports now. He is, of course, part of the Alfa Romeo squad as well. So a lot of fun happening over in the esports. But right now we're keeping things parked right here. 10 seconds counting down for some Singapore Grand Prix action. This is our 2nd of 5 races this week around Singapore. We have Tier 2 and Tier 1 action later this evening for those in the UK. And I'm very, very excited for that just the same. So we are going to have our formation lap. Revo and combine the front row for this one, the Renault and the Alfa Romeo. Let's take a look. It's Revo combined, Domi your top 3. We've got Panda, Trin, Ben the Bear 4, 5, 6, Mikau in 7th, Freeware in 8th, Wangod in 9th, and T-Mac after that grid place or that grid drop. He is in 10th from 5th. So we have Ruben in 11th, Big Al 12th, Yukio is the lone wolf here. 13th position for the McLaren, and look at the tires there, Seb. It's the softs. We have Simdogga, Maz, Ghazi, and Apollo, 14 through 17 here, all on the mediums. So look at the tire differential. We've got 3 racers on hards, just the same. It's going to be interesting.
Very interested at Freeway and Wayne God and Ruben's decision to go on the hards. That could spice up the race if that rain isn't really a factor. Yukio's decision to go on the softs could be just a bit odd. I wonder if he got the time in to be able to change the tires.
Yeah.
We'll see. He could be betting on rain coming earlier than expected. And the same could be said about Wayne God, Freeware and Ruben expecting rain to just come later or not at all. Hence them going onto the hards, but
well, this gives Revo a very good opportunity here because he's on pole position. His rival, Ben the Bear, and, well, I actually, his rivals in Mikau, I'd say Ben the Bear and Mikau this season. Mikau has been a multiple season challenger to Revo. As well, as have you in some case, I guess. Yeah, considering you and Mikau and your your race careers with one another. Blast to the past now, but we have, of course, Revo on pole, and he'll be looking to really pull away from the Thai driver and Ben the Bear here, and he's got 4 cars between them to really pull that gap. They're on the same tires, both on the mediums, but Ben's going to have to do a little bit more heavy lifting to get up there, and that's going to be good news for Revo all the way home.
This start's very important for Ben the Bear and Mikau. They need to get decent starts, maybe find 1 or 2 positions each if they want any chance of challenging Revo later in the race. But this is Singapore, and we can get many safety cars here, so doesn't mean they're necessarily out of the race even if they don't get those positions.
Yeah, let us know in the chat, what do you think for this one? How many safety cars are we going to be seeing in this race? Of course, we've got 17 drivers, and it's the lights coming on now for all of these racers. Revo, Combined, and Domi, your top 3, 4, 5 red lights on here in Singapore, and it's lights out. We are racing here around the Marina Bay Circuit, and it is a great launch for Domi. He has already dispatched the Renault down into turn 1. And there goes Revo with a very, very clear launch. Ben the Bear has serious plans. Look at Ben the Bear. He's into third. He's dispatched the Renault. He's gotten through, and the Red Bulls are on a charge. They are charging through. They are angry, and that Renault is under major threat. There goes Mika around the outside. Combined has dropped like a stone on this grid, and Freeware is looking to pounce as well. He's on the hards down the inside. Does he get this move done already on the opening lap? It looks like he does, and Trin now is also looking to mug the Renault, and look at how terrible the start has been for Combined YouTuber. He's dropped into 7th position. He started this race on the front row.
He's getting absolutely swallowed up by the pack. What a start by Ben the Bear. Absolutely nailing it and focusing on those lights. Great reaction time, great control. We're just looking there, Combined was just very slow to the start. Even Domi got by easily, and then Combined just got himself squabbled up in some fighting, got himself in poor positions out of corners, and that just meant he just got swallowed up by the 2 Red Bulls out of turn 3.
There goes
Freeware.
Ben on the inside of Domi now. He's looking to fight hard with the Thai driver. Domi wheel to wheel now. Ben locking it down into second, neatly done and very clean from these two in a very, very tight section of circuit here.
Great overtake by Ben. Again, he forced Domi to back out of the move into turn 16. He's already into second place in 1 lap. Love to see the POV that he's got if he is recording, because that is an outstanding first lap. It's what he needed.
That was absolutely superlative coming out of Revo there. A little bit of desync coming across as Mikau. Mikau's the host of this lobby. He is not presently in the lead, but what I will say is he is presently right on the rear of his teammate Panda, who's in P4.
Be interested to see how hard these two fight each other. I saw Mikau nearly run to the back of Panda last lap at turn 5, as I reckon Panda will just let Mikau fly. As you see, he goes all the way to the left-hand side.
Yeah, that was a big team order there. Let him through, and don't race him too hard, please. Thank you.
Yeah. No need to, he's your teammate. Get the way, his Freewares now. He's had a decent start as well on those hards, being able to do what he's done on those hards, I think starting from P8 or P9. This Trin and Combined look to be the biggest losers from the start of the race, dropping 6 and 4 positions each.
I think Revo's got a problem. Because I have to tell you, and I have to bring it to the attention of everybody who's tuning in here, and the Bear has taken a half a second out of Revo since he crossed the line to set that 140 for the opening lap of this race, and he got up there pretty quick, and although there's that 2-second gap, and the Bear is locking down his pace, and he is actually very tight to that sub 2-second interval time here, and I think we may see it come across very shortly. Mikau is keeping well with Domi within half a second. Panda following along. Freeware's in on the mix, and there goes Ben the Bear with an absolute scorching lap, a 138.1.
He's on a mission, man. He's on a mission. He wants this bad. 7/10 in 1 lap. Keep in mind, that was only lap 2, but Revo might still be trying to find some rhythm. Keep in mind, Revo does have that eye infection to battle with, but like I said, this is where we'll find out how good a driver Ben the Bear is.
Here we have
His
Wangod.
opponent.
There goes Trin in the Ferrari. Nothing he can do about it. Wangod, a driver who we've seen over the past few campaigns, show some fantastic pace. He had a fantastic battle. I'll bring our attention to Hungary for a moment, where he was fighting Mikau for quite some time.
That's just superior pace on the hards over Trin. Superior skill. Don't want to draw 2 before. Like I said, we'll find out how good Ben the Bear is. Revo's facing adversity. Can Ben the Bear challenge and take advantage of what is an unfortunate, I guess, illness or injury to Revo?
Ben the Bear right now, according to who I think is his engineer for this campaign, and Alex Bido, is saying that apparently he has minor damage, no visible damage, but maybe he has a front wing stuck under his car, like the Mercedes in Imola. I'm not entirely sure, but according to his engineer, he's got damage, light yellow.
No, he's obviously clipped the wall somewhere. But yeah, he had the form as well. He was just like last time he took 7/10 out of Reaver, and now he's just lost 6/10 to him. So
yeah, he is definitely losing time here. Now, somebody else who's losing time is Apollo. He's in 11th position. He's got Big Al hunting him down.
he's had a good start though.
Well, Big Al, the thing that really gets me is, look at Big Al. He's got that fuel light on. He's really dancing that fuel. Apollo has had a fantastic start, though, as you said. 6 positions up for him, and it's going to be a 7th position. Look at the move on the inside of T-Mac. Wow, what a seat we had to that action along with Big Al.
It was a bit of an, I wouldn't say dirty move, but it just wasn't clean. Like
it was tight, you know. We had a little bit of drama.
Locked up. T-Mac kind of had to give the position considering he was on the outside, and Pepsi had that track position on him. So this Big Al was having a bit of a look into turn 10. That was been an interesting spot to overtake.
Vanguard on the rear of Combined. So there's a fight for 7th position, not too far ahead of them. There's a fight for 5th, and the fact that Mikau's pulled away from Panda here, and in a sense, this has really hung out Panda to dry. Reavers on these hards, and over time, depending on when we see that rain, it could be that he's on those quicker tires. Oh, and T-Max had a big crash. Big Al saw it first, and he's going to drop coming through. Oh, wow. And there's no safety car, no VSC, but that is a massive crash for the Williams. Serious damage on that front end, and it's going to be an early pit stop for T-Mac here.
No, it went from decent to bad to worse. Had that great qualifying position, but because of that 5 big place penalty, got moved to like 11th position or something, and now he's just losing positions. Freeware's gonna have a go at Panda here. Has to yield.
And the last time I saw a Mercedes go around the outside of that turn, it was Lutra on Tuesday, and I kind of slipped up my words negatively there a bit. I dropped a word I shouldn't have, because it was something to see.
Well, it's an interesting spot to overtake around the outside. I've done it on Mikau before, I believe. But
you won't be happy you're bringing that up.
Sorry, Mikau, but yeah, you have to really commit to it. You have to really commit to it, and you have to have the respect of the other driver, and you have to trust the other driver to give the space, which I have the respect of. I respect Mikau enough to do that. Wouldn't say I gave him space in the next corner, but we'll see. Red Panda just closed him out on the exit 10-7, which he rightfully can. He's got the Freeway has some runoff to go off to, and is not fully alongside Panda to fight into the corner. Have right to the, well, I wouldn't say apex, but to fight throughout.
Domi right now has a big issue in Mikau. That charging bull less than a second behind DRS. A lot of battery at Mikau's disposal. I know he's had fun around Singapore. He put together one heck of an in-depth guide around here. You guys can find that on the YouTube channel, of course, for the Misfits. But he has been doing some fantastic circuit guides all season long and commentating Tier 1 with me. Now this Oceanic grid has really given him an opportunity to jump back into, well, his element, I'd have to say. He really does enjoy racing, and he's quite quick at it. You can, I'm sure, attest to that. He's a fun guy to race with, and Domi and him have just been having this little tango for the past few laps now since Mikau had a good launch. Still some fighting through the grid, though. Trin on the rear of Combined, and Combined was the driver who started this race in second. And we saw a very, very unfortunate start come across for him, dropping into 8th quite early.
I'll say I was expecting him to drop off throughout the race. I wasn't expecting him to drop that many positions in the space of one lap, though. I'll say that much. Like I said earlier on, that start was not very good from him initially, and then throughout that first sector, just got into positions that were disadvantageous for him. So his Pepsi's also joined the train as well.
Checking in with Revo right now. He's just rounding through turn 21 there, turn 22, now 23. Let's see how he's doing. Crosses the lap. 139.5 from him. He's still doing quite well to stay ahead of Ben. 3.5 seconds now, and now the gap between Ben and Domi is also quite significant. This podium is quite spaced out. Revo 3.4 ahead of P2, and then you have P2 5.3 ahead of course P4. It's sorry, 5.5 is the distance between 3 and 2, and you have Mick out very tight to P3, hunting down that final podium.
Freeway's got an opportunity on Panda here.
Take a look.
Around the outside, here we go. He's got the car links on him. He's just in front. They're going to be fighting into turn 8 now. Who'll come out in front? It'll probably be Freeway because he's got the inside line and he was in front. Panda kind of backed out. Will Panda fight throughout the corner? He's going to have a look. This is very...
Oh, that might have been a little late. That might have been a...
Very...
Oh, and he's really got to be careful now. He's got drivers coming through here. Who's this? There's fighting going on now. There's the Ferrari going to the outside. 3 drivers now overtaking Panda, and I don't believe the switchback attempt there. It was worth it. I don't even think Freeware knew he was there, to be very honest.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. That's an ambitious move, especially into turn 9. You have to make sure you are fully on, or like more than half a car length alongside to make sure that the car you're battling knows you're like fighting. I don't think that was the case.
Oh, and Al now through as well. So this has been a big loss out for Panda. Meanwhile, the Red Bull team making gains in other regions. It's Mikau, who has now officially dispatched Domi for 3rd position. Looks like Domi is struggling with a little bit of lag, at the very least how we saw it on our end. Massive rubber band through back to the pit lane entry. Yeah, so maybe it was lag that launched him behind Mick.
That's what I can think of. I didn't really see them fight much on the timing screen. He's slowly climbing back time through turn 5.
Panda's jumped into the pit lane.
We had front wing damage on the left hand side, I believe. Yep.
Another set of mediums as well and a wing change. So this is going to be interesting to see now. Medium tires coming here on lap 8 for one of the Red Bulls, and we have rain on the horizon here. Very
This is a
interesting
matter
strategy.
This should.
Ruben and Sim wheel to wheel now. I think they're quite tight, and we saw this between Freeware and Panda. Sim. Oh, and there's Ruben with a big, just a glide out there. And did he take front and right damage on that end plate? I think he might not have.
Yeah, he did. No, he did. Yeah, just getting greedy on the throttle. Tried to stay with Sim. Maybe have an opportunity later on. Just try and keep that track position with those hards. But I was just about to say before that happened, it's crucial that these medium runners just try and stretch out their stints in case this rain does not come for a while. As Simdog also has damage on his right front wing.
Yeah, I can guarantee you the hand is going up from the South African. And I can guarantee the radio is probably going along something to the tune of "Bring back Kailami. What is this street circuit nonsense?" He's not been having a good week around here, Ruben. So
there had been talks of Kailami coming back, hadn't there?
I would be quite happy to see it. I've had the pleasure of racing it, well, in ACC. Not to talk about ACC too much here on an F1 stream, but it is one heck of a fun circuit to drive. Much like Mount Panorama. Very fun circuits.
Pepsi's just picked up a 3-second time penalty. I reckon he's going to be starting to become very impatient sitting behind Trin. Just been at that 2 to 4/10 gap behind him. He just can't make any ground in him because Trin has that DRS and combined.
Yeah, it's quite the train we've got here with Big Al bringing up the rear of it, and well, it's all in a fight for 7th position in reality, and Combined, who started this race in 2nd, is going to be looking to, well, not hemorrhage any further position as best he can here, because it was a significant drop. Of course, we'll have to have the replay of that You'll be able to see the replay of that following the race.
Ooh, Trin runs into the back of him. He's lost some front wing, left side.
Yeah, that's a big issue there. And
Was it?
ooh, I thought Big Al almost went into the wall on the exit. It's wheel to wheel nearly, and there goes the raindrops. They've started here, and that could be a very big issue for Panda.
They have indeed. I was just about to say Trin probably should let Combine off, but considering he might have to pit now because of that wing damage. This Combine is losing all confidence. Big Al's all over the rear wing of him. That hit from Trin would probably kill a lot of rhythm he had going on when he was driving. But if he's not hitting.
Well, I want to see if anybody really goes and blinks early for these, because it's a long lap around Singapore, and you really need to make a judgment call, I find, in some of these situations when that rain starts to fall. Look at this shot from Apollo up the inside of Trin. Clean as you like. It was actually a very neat move. Quite daring, considering things are going to start to get a little bit more slick. It's actually very important that he makes that move now, as opposed to later.
Indeed. You're not going to be able to overtake in the rain. That was a nice move by Pepsi. The challenge for him that I'm putting, the challenge that I'm putting on him is that can he keep this clean for the rest of the race? He has not a great track record of keeping that car clean, but if he can do that, kudos to him. He's got some time now to just try and extend that gap on Trin, Combined, and Big Al. Trin with that front wing damage, and Combined obviously trying to find some rhythm back after that contact with Trin at turn 13, I believe.
Yeah, we have this train for P8 right now. Rain coming down. We're on lap 10 only. It's a very, very long campaign around the Singapore circuit here. 31 laps, and we're going to have some rain. And the big question is, these hard runners in Freeway and Vanguard, they could be on for a very unique strat, because we're being told in the chat by Alex Bido that the rain may not be here for that long. And if the rain isn't here for that long, well, are these drivers actually being told to jump on the intermediate compound tires? At the very least, Ruben and Yukio are, because 16th and 17th now on these green rim tires. I think that's fairly early.
That's very, it's very, very early. It's only just started raining, and there's no spray yet, as you can see on board with Ruben. So it's yellow flag sector 3, I believe that's Moz. He was trailing Simdogger by 4 seconds, and that's just going to blow out now. Yeah, this could, I think I said before, Freeware, Wayne God, and I believe what was Ruben, who was on the hard tyres, could be in for something, considering if the rain was only there for a short while, if they were preparing for that. It's playing out well. Freeware's just been able to quietly catch Domi.
Big Al. Things are about to get real tense, because things are wheel to wheel behind the rear of the Ferrari now. Big Al around the outside. Is he going to get this move done? Still wheel to wheel now. Around the outside, back for the Renault. Big Al on the inside. He's going to get through into 9th, and that was just... oh, wow.
Right.
I almost did it again.
That was commitment. Yeah, you got to commit if you want to overtake around the outside of 7. And if you do commit, it pays off. It looks absolutely stunning. That's what we got from Big Al right there.
You know, I remember the flavor of the month overtake in that turn was in the inside. That's how I used to do it. These guys are reinventing the wheel through that turn, it would seem. That was very neatly done. Freeware has Domi in his sights now, and here's something to talk about. They're on, well, they've been on the tires for the same life, but it's the hard versus mediums now coming into play, and this is going to be the big question, is are we going to see intermediates come through for Freeware or Domi? And look at the amount of traction that Freeware's holding through. He's so comfortable in these conditions right now in comparison, it would seem, especially on these, well, these slower tires.
He's got him. He should have him. That's Yukio up ahead being lapped. It should be easy. Textbook stuff. Oh, but Domi.
Yeah, Domi, I think, having some connection issues there.
I was about to say he fought back really well throughout the corner and just he forced Freeware wide in relatively fairly. It was a bit rude, but he had that stutters going on. That's just dropped him back even further. That's really unfortunate.
Looks like the call's been made for a few more drivers now. Simdog, Trin, Big Al. They've all made the call. They've jumped onto the intermediates here on lap 12.
All medium runners. Keep in mind, Simdogger and Trin had broken front wings, so surprised why Big Al is so far behind them, unless he had broken front wing as well. That's anything I can think of.
Take a look at the position changes in this race in the fastest lap right now. Fastest lap is a 1:38.1, and that was set by the tie driver in P2, the racing point of Ben the Bear. Taking a look at the position changes right now, the biggest winner here so far has to be, without any doubt actually, Apollo Pepsi. He's made it up 10 positions to 7th. Ben the Bear, Mikau, and Freeware are all up for. Revo began this race on pole and has done very well to keep it there. Ben the Bear had, he I think was the favorite for the front row, and yeah, Domi's made the call to jump into the pit lane here. Only one driver's been lapped, and that's Yukio.
Just a note, Moz is slowly dropping off Simdogger in the space of half a lap, so this could be a sign that Inter's other way to go. However, Simdogger has kind of dropped off his teammate, Mac. About a second over half a lap, so it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, now so Domi on the hards.
Oh, Domi on the hards.
T-Mac has had an issue. Retired. Yeah, he's had an issue here. So who's gonna see him first? It's gonna be his teammate Simdogger and the VSC. Yeah, and this is that's a massive crash. That car was absolutely gone.
Yeah, he's just clipped that inside wall, trying to take as much curb as possible as Combines left the session.
Try to get Combined back in. Very unfortunate when you see the disconnections start to come through, but T-Mac, very unfortunate. Now DRS has been enabled, and I think Domi...
Oh no.
You know what I'm thinking. Look at these intermediate compound tires, because if we've got DRS being enabled here, we are in for a treat.
What would have been interesting if Revo, Ben the Bear, and Mikau all pulled the pin, as Revo is now pitting. I believe he'll probably go into the hards. He's just overshot the pit entry. I believe he'll go into the hards. Mikau looks...
Oh, DRS enabled right there. You know, when the drivers hear that on the radio...
Yeah, Mikau's still going.
What do you think that reaction is going to be like for those that came in? Oh, Revo!
Not gonna be happy.
Revo's made the call for inners! Ben the Bear's done the same!
So, yeah. So it's all happening.
Oh my god! So we've...
This is very interesting. Wayne got him freeway. What happens with them? What happens with the rain? Does this rain stay? Does this rain go? Does it stay as it is? Does it get heavier?
This is so interesting. This is so interesting because I don't think these inners are the right tires.
I would also like to point out that going onto the hards is a very difficult decision to make. This is a very difficult decision to make because the hards are obviously the hardest tire to drive on. They have the worst get temperature, worst tires to get temperature on, I should say. As it looks like Wango's struggling a bit here.
Well, he's going to gain time, I think, on these hards, no matter the situation, considering the fact that it is fresh rubber. But it's...
Revo's gaining a little on him. Just a little. It's not a lot. Which means it is Inter's conditions, but it's just whether...
What?
The weather stays the same, as Wangod's losing a lot of traction out of turn 13.
Wow, this is like, it's confusing for us just the same, but it's so odd that it would tell us that the DRS was enabled.
Yeah.
So, the intervals for me have kind of had a bit of a shuffling here, so I don't have a clear-cut idea of where the pace is now. But I can see it with the, well, Moz and Panda is our only indicator right now for real times. As Mikau crosses, things are going to repopulate on the timing tower. But where's Revo stand here? What's the gap? Because this is, so he is going very quick.
It looks about 2.5 seconds. Just counting from like a reference point.
It's a huge gamble because he's still gonna have to come in for dry compound tires, no matter what.
Yeah, it's just Mikau. He's got to find that time on Mikau as well as Freeway. Considering, oh, actually no, probably all
Mikkel's
of them.
dropping a little. Mikkel's dropping a little bit, I think. Or well,
Yeah.
he's staying quite close to Freeway. But
Oh, the twin got in the wall.
Yeah, he's had a major issue. Look at the debris coming off the front left. Just coming off of Revo's on board. He has picked up the scent. The blood is in the water here. And
Mikkel's not gonna put up
well, he's not. Yeah, well, there's not much he can do. He has no aerodynamic ability in that front wing. He's on these hards, 14 laps now in wet conditions. I think he's really gonna have to be careful on his way back to the pit
Revo's
lane.
clipped the inside wall. He's lost front wing. Revo's lost front wing. He's clipped the inside wall of on the run to turn 13.
Oh, this
braking
is
zone.
crucial. This is crucial now for Revo's race, because that wing damage is gonna give him a major discomfort in Singapore.
He's going to lose 5 seconds as well in a pit stop. This is just all this time just going to be gained through Bend the Bear while Revo has this lost front wing. Sector 2 yellow flags. That looks like it's Domi and those hard tires. Meanwhile, Mikau's just got to keep this steady.
Oh, he's fortunate. No damage on Domi, but Domi,
Yeah.
he, I think he needs to call his internet service provider. I've had to do that all week. So if I might be able to help him out, but his disconnection, his lag is definitely clear cut at the moment. Of course, to everybody tuning in, you're here for a very interesting Singapore Grand Prix. I hope you're enjoying it with us. My name's Strifium, and here we have it. Revo's come in. So what are the tires going to be? Mediums.
Looks like... Whoa! This is crazy.
What the heck?
I told,
well, so he's had to.
I told you.
He's had to make a serious sacrifice now. You think he would have done that with the wing damage? I don't think so.
No. I told you, 17th minute of qualifying. Buckle in, because it's gonna be really interesting, and it's turning out to be really interesting. Mikau's about 2/3 of a pit stop ahead of Ben the Bear, who's on those inters. Mikau could win this. So could Freeway.
He is in line now for a potential win here, Mikau, and I imagine he'd be thrilled to do that around Singapore against the company he's got right now, because Ben, he's very quick around here. Revo, we've already seen him pull a massive gap, but you know, that's the thing I like about these league races, Seb. The dynamics, man. The dynamics. Love it. Revo is gonna fly here though, make no mistake. Fresh wing, mediums. We're on the cuff, well, the cusp, I should say, of those wet, dry conditions.
Oh. I'm just watching Mikau drive at the moment. His tires just graphically look absolutely shot. Looks like he's turning the wheel a lot just to get some purchase. Looks like he's going to call pits as the rain looks like it's stopped as well.
Yeah, I think this was the right call from Revo here. He went on inters for, well, maybe it wasn't the right call overall, because that he got the damage. You know, maybe, you know.
Here's the interesting thing. Freeway onto mediums, Mikau onto hards.
Oh.
This is going to be very interesting between these two.
Yeah, that it will be quite interesting between these two for sure. They're right behind.
Freeway's shown pace all night as well. Just keep that in mind. Ben the Bear's pulled the pin as well, gone on for mediums.
So far, I have to say, the strategist of the race has been Freeway, because he went on those hards to begin this race. It's the one-stop optimal strategy here. He thought maybe I can extend these hards through the rain, perhaps get on that fast rubber in these mediums. And now you just take a look at the speed difference, the differential in the hard versus medium. He has been very good here so far. Mikau and Freeway have both made it up 6 positions to where they are presently, and now Domi and Revo are having an exchange. There goes Domi around the outside, Revo defending on the inside right now. Well, it's actually realistically Domi defending off Revo. Revo is on the fresher rubber. He is going to have a good run here.
Scare tactic by Revo. He'll have to back out. He'll have to back out, surely.
It's tight. Yep. It's tight. There goes Domi. He absolutely sends it deep, and Revo gets through into third. As easy as you like. He just pressured him into a mistake.
2 mistakes, in fact. One out of turn 9 and one into or throughout turn 10. Just making him break that bit later than his tyres probably could handle with these lower track temperatures from the interchanging conditions. Now Revo's got about 8 seconds to gain if he wants this race win, which he can definitely do. But he's going to need an almighty drive.
Yeah,
with
Mikkel's
his
got a big
infected
issue
eye.
right now in freeware. Yeah, and I have to say, hats off to Revo, man. I would not want to be driving a 31 lap race around Singapore with an eye infection, and that is just one of the biggest discomforts in life, I think. So kudos to him for racing regardless, and hopefully he's able to get some serious points. I know what his expectations and standards are for racing, so this race, I imagine, gonna be one of those races that he'll be looking at, especially with that. The weather is so difficult to judge here. Look at freeware now. Look at the run. DRS, medium compound tires, as easy as you like, down the straight. He's into first position. Mikkel not going to have an opportunity to do much here, but look at freeware. He's gone deep. Yeah, he's really gone deep there and put himself into a position. I imagine it would have been a warning.
Yeah, he's got the 3-second time penalty as well. I reckon he was lucky that he had already overtaken Mikkel. Otherwise, there's a chance he might have had to give that position back.
Yeah, Wangod as well, keeping up with Domi here. And Wangod, he's been having a very unique race just the same. He's up 4 position. He's on the medium compound tires for what I would imagine would be to the end of this race.
Yeah, this should be easy for Wangod. There shouldn't be too much fighting going on here.
Yeah, this is full-time driver and reserve driver. And there's a little bit of a squeeze there.
We got very close to the outside barrier. They're still going, these two.
Oh, Domi's had a big issue there.
Just kept it.
Was that Wangod racing him too hard, or who was racing who harder there?
Well, I honestly reckon Domi should have pulled out because he's on the hards, and looks like Wangod had that pace on him. And there was no really need to fight into turn 16 that much. Maybe Wangod could have given him more space, considering Domi looked like he got really squeamish on that inside curb.
Look at the gap that Freeware is pulling on Mikkel right now. It is quite significant. He's showing very good pace around here. Ben the Bear is also somebody that nobody can really trifle with right now. He's just come across with another fastest lap in this one. It's a 136.629, 3/10 quicker than what Revo was able to get up there. You see, that's the 136.934 coming out of the Alfa Romeo, and these two have been deadlocked in pace quite well all season. I have to say, Revo, with one of the fastest laps I've ever seen in Monza last week. I think you could probably agree, Seb. He was absolutely on point. The race, however, the dynamic of that actually saw him, well, with the podium, but not the win. It was Ben the Bear that claimed the win on that one. But it's been a very, very unique season, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed watching it here now. This 6th round, of course. There goes Ben the Bear on the back marker. Who was that? Ghazi. Ghazi, another racer who I've had the pleasure of joining for a few Singapore Grand Prix, both in commentary, and we actually had the race the other night. I imagine he's quite done with the circuit. He's earning it quite a lot around here. And the Bear, look at the amount of time he's just found against Domi. Look at the traction, and there goes Domi. He just says, "No way, I'm gonna fight you now."
Yeah, Domi looks like he's devoid of confidence at the moment. He can pit, yeah, as he does. He's got that gap to Pepsi to take advantage of. So Pepsi's driven a solid race so far. Very good, starting from the back of the grid, up 10 positions. Just making use of the carnage that has suited this whole field, rain or not.
Revo, 2 seconds is the gap to Mikkel right now. And we've had a yellow
don't tell me
flag.
don't tell me I've spoken too soon. I have. Pepsi's fun around.
Well, Domi's just coming to the
Why is it that
lane.
every time I just give someone a compliment, something bad happens?
Domi's just coming to the pit lane for fresh mediums here. Apollo.
That might have cost Pepsi, to be honest, of greater points. because you said Domi on fresh mediums is just going to allow him to get some good runs on Pepsi, and I believe there's also a speed differential between the two in terms of skill.
One thing I want to talk about is the situation with Revo. We may have been a little bit ahead of the gun here. I think we might have jumped the gun because we still have potential for a safety car. And Mikau right now, he's in P2, and we've got Revo very, very close to him. And Ruben's coming around. Ruben's done a 180. He's coming around just leading into the penultimate turn of this lap. What is that going to cause? He's still there.
Don't think it'll cause much.
Domi, wheel to wheel with Apollo now. Apollo holding on to 6th. Revo's about to get Mikau. He's very, very close. There goes Domi along the inside. Does he get the move done? How's the traction coming out of the Mercedes? It looks like Domi through on the inside for the moment in 6th position. Does he hold it? Yes, he does. Back to Revo and Mikau. There goes Revo up the outside with the DRS. And there goes Mikau dropping into 3rd position. Revo in 2nd. And 4.2 seconds now is the gap that Revo needs to climb to freeware. And there are penalties on the table for the Alfa Romeo, but this win perhaps not fully out of his reach just yet. We've still got a third of this race to go.
Well, look how many penalties Revo has. 1, 2, almost, I believe, 3 penalties he had. So that's going to drop him down. Mikau has 1 penalty. Checking in on Wayne God, he has 1 penalty as well. Ben the Bear has no penalties. Domi has 1 penalty. Pepsi has 1 penalty. Sorry, 2 penalties. Over with combined YouTuber, he's a warning away from getting a penalty, I believe. Sim Dogger has 1 penalty. Big Al has 3 warnings, which is interesting. Probably 1 for a collision with another driver. Trin has a 5-second time penalty, which he has probably served on the pits, along with a 3-second time penalty. And that's our top 11.
He's just taking a massive amount of damage coming through the little underpass section of the stands there. Where is that?
I'm just trying to look at the color of the wing, but I didn't really get a look at it.
I didn't get a good look at it either, to be very fair. Panda right now, he's on these hards. He's within a second of Trin. And catching.
Decent recovery job from him, but he won't be happy with the fact that he had decent points on the board and kind of threw them away early on in the race. But he can salvage something. Yeah, there's a good chance he can. Just have a bit of fun with Trin now. As you said before, you probably spoke too soon on Reaver. He's taking about the second.
He's
1.2 seconds out of freeway, 2 laps, yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely cooking on those mediums right now. Gonna be, I think it's gonna be a good opportunity for him. It's a long race around Singapore, and if you've got the pace, you know, you're gonna have the ability to perhaps make those gaps, pull those gaps that you need when you acquire those penalties.
And it's all over the back of Trin. If he's within 4 tenths, he might have a chance to overtake through 7, 8, and 9. There we go. Oh, this could be a good move. Looks to back out of it. Switchback was nearly on.
That was quite close, yeah. Trin going a little bit extending on the exit there. I think that was his attempt to just make sure that Panda had space.
Yeah. Panda just locking up, trying to just make sure he didn't slam into the rear wheel, Trin, and potentially spin himself and turn around. But on to round 2, I guess. This time he's a bit closer this time than he was last time around, between 13 and 14.
The only battle on track right now. Things have spaced themselves out, and I can't really ask why. The answers are right in front of us. Look at the timing tower. You have so many different... Well, I'm absolutely losing my speech at 20 to 8 in the morning right now. It's such a difference in tire life. The lap numbers that we have, the lap ages of these racers' tires on that timing tire. Pan is still hunting down Trin here. Trin, I have to say, is defending this Red Bull quite well.
Yeah, indeed. Reaver's just slowly catching onto the back of Freeway. He's taken 2 tenths out of him, 3 tenths out of him in the space of 2 corners.
Yukio's catching up with Ruben, and we're going to jump on now. As
Freeway's pit.
Yeah, he's made a very interesting call here for softs.
Panda's gone for it. He's gone too deep. Oh, he just able to pull it up in time. You could tell he just looked way too deep down the inside of Trin, trying to find anything, just getting impatient. Just probably the bottom line to sum up that little exchange we had at turn 7. Once again, Trin staying in front of Panda, making him work for it.
One of the most dynamic races we've had in the Oceanic Division this season. But you wouldn't think it looking at the intervals. You know, we've had such an eventful race considering we're on lap 24 now and things have died down. And within that 1 second of Trin, we've got Yukio within a second of Ruben at the moment. Ruben, of course, is going to be looking to pull away. He's on the fresher rubber right now. The big thing to talk about is Freeware. He's come out onto these softs.
Yeah.
And I think he's looking to neutralize that fastest lap between, at the very least, the two front runners, because it was Revo and Ben. Some fires here. The fastest laps on the board. Ben still has it, the 136.629, and Panda, he's just sitting on the gearbox of Trin through turn 1 right now.
Trin has the ERS, Panda doesn't. Just looking really impatient at the moment. But patience is a virtue in this track as he gets a bit greedy on the throttle. That's going to cost him. He's going to have to wait again. But I think an opportunistic move into turn 13 might work out for Panda. That is the place where Revo damaged his wing earlier on in the race during wet conditions. But if he can get close enough through turns 10, 11, and 12, then he could be a chance in turn 13. Just for a little dive, but it doesn't look like it at the moment.
Simdaga at Williams, we saw him drive by T-Mac. T-Mac, very unfortunate to see him out of this race. Looked like a terrible crash in the aftermath as it was T-Mac who went by, and there goes Simdaga. Sorry, Simdaga went by T-Mac earlier, and now we have Simdaga in a very near, this is very close to where it happened for T-Mac.
I was about to say he's a quietly decent recovery drive from his wing damage earlier in the race, and he just went and got greedy and expected too much of his car and the seat into the wall.
Domi has damage.
Allow combine a bit of Domi has damage.
Yeah, that
he should be fine. He's got a healthy 15-second gap to Pepsi.
Speaking of, well, should be fine. Trin right now has Panda. He's fine through turn 1. But we've seen this dance unfold for a few laps. Ooh, Panda's just compromised his run massively. Simdaga right now in half a second still of combined.
Flirting with danger. I reckon Panda should probably just try and save some ERS for the next 2 laps and then have a go at Trin.
I think combined is about to blow a tire.
Yeah, same. 22 lap old mediums. That's. I mean, if he can get that to the end, that is.
I almost just want to sit on board with Sim to wait for it to happen. I feel like it's gonna happen soon here. Revo, sorry, not Revo. I was about to say Revo with the fastest lap. Freeware would kill me. Freeware would absolutely kill me. Freeware in P5. He's on the softs. He's quickest here now in this one. A 136 flat, the quickest time in the session coming out of the Mercedes. Domi's just taking a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. And look at the drift coming out of Panda here.
This is going to give Pepsi combined and potentially Simdaga positions as well as probably Big Al, considering he has that wing damage. He's going for a fastest lap attempt as well. Why would he pit that? That makes 0 sense.
Combined and Sim in this dogfight right now, and I am just waiting. I am just waiting. I'm even on the rear view to see when one of these tires goes. I can only imagine one of these rears lets go. 23 laps, soon to be 24 laps on the medium compound tire. A medium soft one stop.
Sim's got a chance.
Well, it's not a one stop.
Sim with a chance indeed. Combine's still fighting though. He's gonna have to yield. He should yield. What a move, Sim Dogger. Like I said, commitment through turn 7 around the outside. If you go and move, should normally pay off. You have the inside line to turn 8. And it'll just work out almost all the time. Especially if the driver you're trying to overtake will give you the respect on the outside.
I gotta take a look at Combined here. I can't believe that none of these tires have let go. Now, he did have that desync issue, so I don't know if we're seeing the actual tire life. But, I mean, I have to say, it's impressive.
If he didn't have a spare set of mediums, that could have really hurt him. But I don't think so. I reckon these tires are probably around 12 laps old. I don't see how they could be 23 laps old. To be perfectly honest with you, he's just gone onto the old set of
just
tires
taken 5
accidentally.
seconds for ignoring a blue flag.
That's with freeware, I believe. Or no, Pepsi. Pepsi in P6. He's done a good job tonight.
Somebody else who's done a good job overall is Ben the Bear. Considering Ben the Bear started this race, well, I'm looking for my position changes. He started this race in 6th position. He is about to hopefully dispatch Wangod for 3rd. The position gains here.
He had that absolutely outstanding start, but then he got that wing damage when he was really gaining a lot of time on Revo, and that kind of killed all the momentum he had in the race. Had to pit for, or didn't have to pit for a wing change, but when he did pit, he had to decide to change his wing. Thought it was affecting him enough and would affect him further in the future. But he's got a good chance here to overtake Wayne God. It's that 4/10 window, like I said before, when Red Panda was trying to overtake Trent, and he's in it. However, Wayne God just has that ERS to fight, and Ben the Bear is just, he's in that 10% space of ERS where you get that decreased power output from the engine, from the power unit.
Ben the Bear just being patient here as well. He, I imagine, knows the penalty situation.
Domi having a look on Big Al at the moment. Obviously Domi with these internet issues that have caused him to drop some positions, but he's also had spinning issues of his own throughout the race due to wet conditions. Just being on the slicks, trying to make hard tyres work, worn hard tyres work in the wet, but he's got a good chance to overtake Big Al here. Big Al won't put up too much of a fight. Domi down the inside, easy as you like, cuts the corner a bit, that'll be a warning, but I don't think he'll mind that too much. Especially if he has spare warnings in the bag to use. He's got Combined and Sim Dogger up the road. He should be able to dispatch them easily in the next 4 laps.
Yeah, Combined here. Just look at the traction, look at the speed. I think he's going to get him. It was quite far back.
Out of ERS.
Around the outside.
Around the outside.
Oh, it's so tight between these two, and we get the shot after. And that is the move through for Domi, and he's not sticking around.
Gone. It's a 3-second time penalty though. He should be able to easily dispatch Sim Dogger. This could be the surprise move I'm talking about into turn 13. Get that DRS detection and then get that move done and then have DRS from 13 to 14. Will he go for it?
Tricky section of circuit here. Really tricky. Up the inside. Very neat there. Sim Dogger as well, giving him some serious space, and it's just some clean racing there. It was a neat move from Domi. Not a lot Sim can do to really defend against those softs at the moment, and I think he knows it. Combined right now. I mean, I think the timing tower is lying to us on those tires, because I feel as though it would just be impossible at this point. Ben the Bear is still sticking quite well with, of course, Wangod. Maz now has jumped into the pit lane. This has promoted Ruben to 14th position.
Yeah, just looking at Combined tires graphically, they don't look like they're 16 lap holds like Mikkel's, where they look about Yeah, they look about 10, 11 laps old, like Simdogger and all the other guys. It's like, I can't get my words out. Ben the Bear's having a go at Wingard now. Wingard holds the inside for turn 16. Can he hold on? No, Ben the Bear has the inside for turn 17, and that'll be a relatively easy move. As
Now,
Wingard also picks out wing damage.
yeah, and in that moment, Revo took a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Now, I was about to bring our attention to Revo, but even more now I have a better excuse. So he's taken that penalty. Mikau's 9.5 seconds off of Revo. The amount of time that Revo has been able to pull out in this race after the way the race has been for him dynamics-wise is just
seconds.
so impressive. The way he's been racing
20 seconds,
here.
I believe. Yeah, it was approximately 20 seconds. As combined Big Al and Sim still go at it, but yeah, he's absolutely brilliant job. 20-second change. He was about 10 seconds behind Mikau and Freeware, and now he's 10 seconds in front of Mikau. So Mikau's just being patient behind Simdogger, not trying to risk anything he doesn't need to. Red Panda's kind of dropped off the back of Trin now after having multiple goes at him through lap 20 to around lap 30. As Ruben picks up a 3-second time penalty. So we're reaching the climax of the race now, at the very end. Revo looks like he's about to clinch out this win with Mikau and Ben the Bear rounding off the podium.
Domi and Apollo wheel to wheel coming through turn 1 right now. Domi on the outside. How's it going to go? Things are quite tight. He's going to get through with the move, or is he? That's the Mercedes on the inside, around the outside,
Pepsi
coming through. Back for
Pepsi should
Domi.
back out and try and get DRS. Pepsi should back out. Yeah, he has. Try and get DRS. He's gone wide on the exit. That's given him a time penalty. He's got the ERS. He should try and use this ERS and get back in front of Domi, but he's not using it. Now he is. Uses a bit more. Goes down the inside. This is new. Domi, can he fight around the outside? No, he can't. Pepsi can push him wide because he has the inside line and track position on him. But Domi came back on the track after and comes back in front. That's interesting.
That is quite interesting.
Would Pepsi put that up for appeal? That is technically overtaking off the track. We'll see. Domi doesn't look like he's going to give the position back at all.
Trin has a massive amount of damage, and he's taken even more now. He's gone into the rear of Panda. Looking at that front wing now, it's just destroyed. Panda's in 11th position, and we saw Ben the Bear take a 3-second time penalty a moment ago. Now combined in between two cars right now. Simdogger ahead, Big Al on the rear. We'll have to see what happens. We're on the final lap of this race now. So as soon as Revo takes that checkered flag, there's going to be some drivers that get the flag early here, but
Big Al's just sitting on nearly 50% ERS. He should probably try and use this. Just try and overtake combined with Sim. He's obviously running out of time.
I think Mikau.
Oh, combined nearly lost it out of
big drift.
turn
Look at
18.
Big Al here. Big Al on the inside. A little bit of contact. This is really compromised. Combined through the runoff area of the turn.
Another instance of, I guess, overtaking off track again. This is interesting. Will these guys ask these to be reviewed or not? Yeah.
Here goes Revo, though. Also coming out of turn 23 with the big weave. He's probably happy with the end result. Maybe not about the entirety of that race. It was interesting with the damage, but it is going to be Revo with the win. And there goes Mikau through.
Big Al's just had a moment. Big Al had a nice little moment out of turn 5, and that's cost him dear. He needs to use that ERS between turns 9 and 10 and 13 and 14 if he wants any chance of getting combined here.
Revo, Mikau, Ben the Bear, your podium here in Singapore for round 6 of the Oceanic Division. We're still racing here. Domi yet to cross all the way down through to 10th, and it's Big Al hunting down perhaps an additional point in combined YouTuber. Penalties for these racers, we'll have to see if they play a role here. Domi, 53.7 seconds away from Freeware.
Too little too late for Big Al, it seems like. He has a lock up and nearly runs into the tech break barriers on the outside of turn 14.
What a race here. This grid's been separated
the fireworks
massively. As Panda, Trin, Ghazi, Ruben, And Moz all catch the
Oh,
ugly flag, and there
Domi
goes Domi with a big drift and a penalty coming across. There's Apollo now, 7th position for him. Simdogger, where's he gonna land in all of this? It's 8th position. Combined jumps into 7th on the penalties. Big
along
Al
with
8th.
Big Al.
This race has just been so dynamic, start to finish. We saw the wet qualifying come into dry, and then we went into the dry race following a little bit of interconditions into more dry running, and Yukio's just having a little bit of no limits fun here.
Just look at, if you go to the AI of Domi, you could see
Oh,
that just a massive pile up. Oh my god. There's just this massive pile up at turn 5.
Okay then. That was wild. That was absolutely wild. If you guys enjoyed this race, it was Revo with the win. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was actually a very fun race to watch. Of course, Revo from pole position with the win. It was an up and down race for him, I have to say, but he got it where it counts and he got the win. Mikal there from 7th to 2nd position in this one, Seb. What a drive. It was a great drive for Ben the Bear overall as well, from 6th to 3rd. Overall, maybe not where Ben the Bear wanted to finish in this one. I think he had high expectations in his face down with, of course, Revo, but overall, these three have been on the podium now consistently. Wangod there in 9th, well, where he began. Finishes 4th. It's Freeware from 8th to 5th. We have Domi 3rd to 6th. He's not where he wants to finish, of course. We have combined Big Al, Apollo, and Sim rounding out points. I have to say, great races to all of the 3 drivers rounding out the points here. In, of course, Sim there in 10th from 14th to 10th for him. 17th to 9th for Apollo. Great stuff. Absolutely great stuff. 12th to 8th for Big Al. And, of course, Panda having an interesting race. He had that issue costing him a couple of positions with the switchback attempt on Freeware. I don't know if Freeware saw him. Of course, the stewards will be able to review. Trin there in 12th. Ghazi 13th here. Ruben 14th. That's Yukio 15th with at the end there. A little bit of heroics. Of course, we have the Alfa Romeo and the Williams. That's Maz and T-Mac. It was only T-Mac. T-Mac, the only driver in this race to very unfortunately fire in in sector 3. He had a big crash. We saw it happen. Of course, Simdog passed him by. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. If you're new, hit that follow button. We have a ton of racing action still left to come this week. We've got 3 more Singapore Grand Prix for you. 2 more today. Tier 2, Tier 1 action happening at 9:15 GMT or 11:15 GMT, depending on which race you tune in. That's, of course, more catered to UK and European times. Well, kinda a little bit later, but it is a global ran league, the Misfits. So if you're if you enjoyed the cast, hit that follow button. But thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Seb, thank you so much for commentating with me as always, sir. It was a delightful race. How did you feel about it overall?
That was very enjoyable. Nice way to keep me up till nearly midnight. 3 minutes from midnight here, but yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun to watch, fun to
definitely
commentate.
Helped me out as well. The excitement in the race. I mean, I began commentating it at 6:30 a.m. We're here at 8 in the morning now in Canada. So thank you so much. We are going to raid a community member as always. We are going to be back later live to do some racing as well. Well, we've got Tier 2 and Tier 1 action, round 16 for those grids around Singapore, and are going quite spicy. So thank you so much, guys. We are going to hit you with the outro and jump on into raid a member of the F1 2020 stream community, and we will see you guys all later.